Imagine this. You're 6 months pregnant and still looking after 23 children. This was the reality for many royal women in history. For centuries, royal women weren't just expected to have children. They were baby-making machines, trapped on a relentless treadmill of pregnancy and loss. Their value was measured almost entirely by their wombs. Married off as teenagers, they faced a brutal cycle: conceive, give birth, hand the baby to nurses, recover just enough, and then back to the royal bedchamber to start all over again. They didn't fear menopause. They waited for it because it was their only way to freedom. In this episode, we explore the top 8 queens in history who gave birth to the most children. Born in 1593 to Persian nobles, Mumtaz Mahal married the future emperor Shah Jahan at 19. While Shah Jahan had 2 other political wives, fathering 1 child with each as duty demanded, his heart belonged only to Mumtaz. He saw her as the most beautiful and virtuous woman alive. She wasn't just his wife, she was his closest advisor, traveling with him everywhere, even on military campaigns. He spoiled her with incredible riches and the highest salary ever given to a Mughal empress. Together they had 14 children. Only 7 lived to adulthood. Among them, the influential Jahanara Begum and Aurangzeb, who would one day become emperor. Mumtaz's final childbirth was a nightmare. After 30 agonizing hours delivering her 14th child, Gohar, she bled to death. Heartbroken, Jahan poured his grief into building the magnificent Taj Mahal as her tomb. He was buried beside her 27 years later. His death sparked a brutal war among his 4 surviving sons, with Aurangzeb emerging as the next ruthless Mughal emperor. Born a German princess in 1744, and Britain's first known queen with distant African ancestry traced back 13 generations, Charlotte married Britain's King George III at 17. Surprisingly, they adored their quiet family life together far more than royal parties. Charlotte wasted no time having her first child, future King George IV, within a year of the wedding. Over the next 21 years, she delivered 15 children. George IV, Frederick, later William II, Charlotte, Queen of Varenberg, Edward, father of Queen Victoria, Augusta, Elizabeth, Ernest, Augustus, King of Hanover, Adolphus, Mary, Sophia, Octavius, Alfred, and Amelia. Queen Charlotte hated being constantly pregnant. While expecting her 14th child, she wrote desperately, "I don't think a prisoner could wish more ardently for his liberty than I wish to be rid of my burden. I would be happy if I knew it was the last time." Despite this, she loved her children deeply and they adored her. Tragically, her young sons, Alfred, age 2, and Octavius, age 4, died of smallpox. Remarkably, for the 1700s, the rest survived to adulthood. Charlotte, perhaps traumatized by her own experiences, fiercely protected her daughters. She delayed their marriages. Some never married, others waited until their 40s, spared them constant pregnancies, focused on their education, and kept them close. None of her daughters had surviving children. In later years, King George III suffered terrible mental illness, forcing their eldest son to rule as Prince Regent. Charlotte died at 74, surrounded by many of her children. This Spanish princess, named after her famous great-grandmother Elela Nina of Aquitaine, married the future King Edward I of England when she was just 13 and he was 15. Edward was a fierce warrior, conquering Wales and battling Scotland. But at home he was a devoted and faithful husband. Elela Nina was incredibly tough, traveling constantly with Edward on harsh military campaigns, all while bearing 16 children. Her first child, born when she was only 13, died within days. Her next 2 babies, Catherine and Joan, also died shortly after birth, tragically common for young teenage mothers whose bodies weren't ready. John and Henry survived birth but died before age 10. Her 6th child, Elela Nina, was the first to survive to adulthood. While on crusade with the king, she delivered a stillborn daughter. By now, Elela Nina's body was exhausted. Disaster struck. Her only living son and Edward's heir, Alonso, died of illness at age 10. So Elela Nina endured one final pregnancy. Her last child, Edward, survived to become the ill-fated King Edward II. In 1307, marching with her husband in northern England, Elela Nina caught malaria. Her worn-out body couldn't fight it. Her children were summoned to say goodbye before she died at 48. King Edward, utterly heartbroken, ordered 12 beautiful stone crosses built along the route her funeral procession took from Lincoln to London. In total, she had given birth to 16 children. Kiran, nicknamed Anna, was the daughter of a Turkish prince. She married King Leo II of Armenia sometime before 1262. Records praise her wonderful soul, beautiful body, and being a good friend to her husband in trouble and joy. She gave birth to an incredible 16 children, 10 single babies, and 3 sets of twins. Her first unnamed son died young, as did her second and third, Constantine and Phime. Her fourth, Hethum II, became king of Armenia, but was murdered. Next came Isabella, then Taras III, who succeeded his murdered brother as king and was also murdered. Queen Kieran's final pregnancy produced another set of twins, Ashen, the youngest brother to become king and be murdered, and Alan. Utterly exhausted after so many births, Queen Kieran became a nun, retiring to a monastery where she died in 1285. Born in 1717, Maria Theresa became Holy Roman Empress. At 19, she married Francis Stephen, Duke of Lorraine, and fell deeply in love. Sadly, he was unfaithful throughout their marriage. As women faced restrictions ruling parts of the empire, she made Francis co-emperor, but kept him out of important meetings. She held the real power, while fiercely defending her empire, pushing through reforms and approving policies. She also delivered 16 children in just 19 years. She even declared that if she hadn't been constantly pregnant, she would have led her troops into battle herself. The Empress used her 13 surviving children ruthlessly as political pawns, arranging powerful marriages across Europe. Smolaks haunted her family, killing several children. Maria Theresa championed the new life-saving Smolaks inoculation for her offspring. Ferdinand Marie Antoinette, Queen of France, and Maximilian Francis, Archbishop, are some of her children. Jealous of Francis's many mistresses, Maria Theresa created a chastity commission to crack down on prostitution, homosexuality, and adultery, secretly hoping to catch her husband. Francis died after 29 years of marriage. Maria Theresa mourned him in black for the rest of her life. She eventually caught Smolaks herself and died at 63. Maria Carolina inherited her mother, Maria Theresa's astonishing baby-making ability. She was incredibly close to her younger sister, Marie Antoinette, future Queen of France. Her mother had already promised 3 of Maria Carolina's sisters to King Ferdinand of Naples and Sicily, but all 3 tragically died of smallpox. Maria Carolina, next in line, was terrified. She wept and begged not to go, believing the marriage was cursed. Ignored, she was shipped off to Italy at 15. It was instant dislike. She found him very ugly, and he crudely complained about their wedding night. Disgust didn't stop duty. Maria Carolina gave birth to 17 children, though only 7 survived to adulthood. Ferdinand was a weak ruler, so Maria Carolina quickly seized power, copying her mother by using her surviving children for political marriages across Europe. When Napoleon invaded, the family fled to Austria, seeking help from her nephew, Emperor Francis I. Before Ferdinand could reclaim his thrones, the stressed Queen Maria Carolina was found dead on her floor, surrounded by papers. She'd suffered a stroke at 62. She never saw Napoleon's defeat or her husband's return. Born in 1665, Anne was the daughter of the future King James II. At 18, she married Prince George of Denmark. Their life became a heartbreaking story of loss. Their first child was a stillborn daughter. Then came Mary and Anne Sophia. When the girls were nearly 2 and 1, the family caught smallpox. Anne miscarried and both daughters died. The devastated couple often sat silently, holding hands in grief. Over 16 years, Anne endured 18 pregnancies, losing every child to miscarriage, stillbirth, or early death. Only a few lived long enough to be named. Her 7th child, Prince William, Duke of Gloucester, survived the longest. He was Anne's beloved pride and joy, the last hope for the Stuart dynasty. He died aged 11 of an unknown illness. Her 8th Mary and 9th George babies were born alive and baptized, but died within hours. Her 15th pregnancy ended in miscarried twins too early to identify. Doctors now believe Anne suffered from Hugh syndrome, sticky blood making it nearly impossible for blood to flow through tiny fetal veins. A simple aspirin might have saved her babies. A heartbreaking thought. And now the record holder, Darjan Dadani, Queen of Georgia, 23 children. Born a Georgian princess in 1738, Darajan was married off at just 12 years old to the 30-year-old future King Heraclius II, whose second wife had recently died. He already had 4 sons. Over the next 30 years, Queen Darajan delivered an astonishing 23 children. 13 survived to adulthood. Darajan fiercely wanted her sons to inherit the throne, not her stepsons. She pressured Heraclius to sign a will stating that after his eldest son George ruled, the throne would pass to her sons. After Heraclius died, King George III immediately tore up the will. claiming his stepmother forced his father. Rivalry exploded between George and his stepmother, and her 5 surviving sons, Miran, Alexander, Parnaz. They sought powerful allies. George Darajan was arrested and imprisoned when George III died in 180 royal duty.